What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our player ratings video here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have booked their place in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup, beating Southampton by 2-1. Goals on the night for Alexander Isak, who gets off the mark for the Reds, and Ugo Ekitike. But the real story was the performance of Federico Chiesa and, of course, the concerning injury for LEONI. We don't have any information on that, but when we do, we will bring it to you. It looked like he was in a serious amount of pain, though, going off, so we wish him all the best. Right, folks, here's what we do. We're going to go through, giving the referee, the players, the manager, and the substitutes all a score out of 10. As always, there's two images. One you will see in the upper right hand corner of each player card is the Anfield Agenda audience score, and the large square in the centre of the image will be my score. If you'd like to submit your ratings in the future, do make sure you're joined up to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp. We post a link in there for you so to submit them. And also, delighted to say that we've teamed up with our friends at the Collector's Corner to give away a signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt to celebrate the great man's life. If you would like to be in with a chance to win that shirt, get over to the Anfield Agenda Instagram account. Just search at Anfield Agenda on there, and all the instructions of how to enter are there for you. We'll be announcing the winner for the Chelsea game, the last game before the October international break. So right, let's get cracking, and we'll start off with the referee today. I thought he was a bit fussy, to be honest. Not too bad, not great. I think he could have let a few more things go for both sides with regards to advantages that he could have given. So I thought it was a meh performance from him. So I'm going to give the referee tonight a score of 6. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone pretty similar with a 6.3. Next up, Georgi Marmadashvili making his competitive debut for Liverpool, and I don't think he really did anything wrong. Not much he could have done about the Southampton goal. Made some big saves and certainly commanded his area when he needed to. Good, encouraging signs and a great start to his Liverpool career. For me, I'm going to give Georgie today a nice solid 7, and the Anfield Agenda audience agree with a similar score. Do let me know in the comments, though, if you agree or disagree, and feel free to let us know your thoughts on the game. Next up, Jeremy Frimpong. Kind of a game of two halves for Frimpong. First half, he was all over the place, giving balls away, caught in possession, under-hitting passes. Second half, though, when Bradley came on and he went further forward, he looked a lot more comfortable. So we know he's better than we've seen today. But I got to score it as I see it. So for me, I'm giving Frimpong a 5.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience there, not too dissimilar, with a score of 5.7. Again, this isn't to talk about the ability of the players. It's what we see tonight, and we're rating them and judging them on what we've seen over the 90 minutes. Next up is Giovanni Leoni. I've got to say, of course, we wish him a speedy recovery and hope that that injury isn't as bad as many of us fear. But what a performance. What a debut for the young man. How was he only 18 years of age? He looked every inch the Rolls Royce of a centre-back that we believe he's going to be. You know the way sometimes it takes you 5 minutes to know. Looked at this kid tonight. You just know. Composure, calmness, reading of the game. Just brilliant. 18 years of age. What a future ahead of him. Giving Giovanni a score of 7.5 tonight, which coincidentally is exactly the same as the audience, who scores, by the way, I don't know before I start recording this video. And again, we do hope that that injury isn't serious, because he looked brilliant out there. Welcome to Liverpool Football Club, Giovanni. We're all proud of that performance from a young man. Next up, Joe Gomez. So, look, you don't need me to say that this wasn't Joe's best night in a Liverpool shirt. And again, no problems with Joe going forward, no problems with Joe in the past. Always speak highly of him. But he was shockingly bad out there tonight. Himself and Endo, senior pros out there, didn't look like they were at the races whatsoever. Yes, he got in some good defensive blocks, but in possession, just nowhere near good enough as well. So for me, I'm giving Joe a 4.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone a lot higher than me with a 5.8. Look, I've said many times, I'm a big Joe fan. I've said I think he's worth 1.5 players to the manager in the squad. But that performance tonight was worrying for me, because we don't have a great depth at centre-back. And if Joe plays like that in a league game against a bigger opponent, if he's called upon, I'd be very worried. But we know Joe's better than that. So tonight, I'm giving him a 4.5, as I said. But moving forward, we know he's a better player than he showed out there this evening. Andy Robertson. I thought he was okay. Yeah, I thought it was a solid performance. A little question, and it's not a criticism, it is more of a question. In the first half, I don't feel that he was really bombing forward as much to support Rio Enamoha or making diversional runs from whether that was underlapping or overlapping. Could have been under instruction from the manager, but either way, slipped into centre-back seamlessly as well to help us see out the game. So I've given Robbo a 6.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience has gone a bit higher there for Robbo with a score of 6.6. Now into midfield, and again, Endo, he overjumped the ball for their goal. I don't know where he was going with that header. But apart from that, there's two ways to look at this. There's the Endo that was combative, that was breaking up play, and that Endo we all know and love. But there's the Endo in possession that looked a little bit too slow, looked like he needed too many touches, just didn't look like he was up to the pace of the game. I do have to say, I felt he was much better in the second half. I thought he was 10 yards further forward up the pitch, under instruction, I'm sure, but maybe I'm wrong on that, but it just felt to me like he was a bit higher. And defending from the front, that's the part of Endo's game I love. But when I say to people that you can't compare him and Gravenberch because the position they play is just so differently played by both of them, it shows you the difference there tonight of when you don't have Ryan's press resistance in the team. So, Endo, not a great shift. I'm giving him a score of 5. The audience have gone a little bit higher with a score there of 5.5 for Wataru Endo. Next up, Nyoni. I felt this was a difficult one to judge. Obviously a young player still making his way. But he was, I'm not saying he was anonymous in the game because he always did what was asked of him in the game. I just felt he was going through the motions, if that makes sense. I love this kid as a footballer. I think he's brilliant, but I've seen better performances than that from tonight. But it's another good solid 90 minutes under his belt. And he, like I said, he did nothing wrong. I just, maybe I had too high hopes for the performance tonight when I knew he was going to be starting. But for me, I'm going to give him a 5.5. The Anfield Agenda audience is going a bit higher with a score of 6.1. Now we move into Curtis Jones, who I thought was the only player in the first half for Liverpool in midfield that looked like he had anything about him. Always making himself available, trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and make things happen. I thought that was a good performance from Curtis. So yeah, no complaints from me So I'm going to give him a score of 6.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience gone a little bit lower than me there with a 6.3 for Curtis Jones. Moving on to the star boy today. I mean, there's nothing I can say that you're probably not already saying or haven't said. He was brilliant, quite simply brilliant. The attitude that is what impresses me most about Fede. He doesn't ever sulk. He doesn't have that disappointment. Wasn't included in the Champions League squad. Wasn't included in the next matchday Premier League squad. Got given his chance tonight. And my goodness, did he take it. Whether he was playing on the right, whether he was playing on the left, he was brilliant. Absolute perfection. Did everything we could have asked of him. Fought hard. His tenacity got us the first goal and got Isak off the mark for Liverpool. His interception and reading of that pass out from McCarthy. His unselfishness to set up Ugo Ekitike for his goal. Just take a bow, Fede, because the manager cannot ignore you anymore. The manager cannot not play him and give him chances anymore. That was a coming of age in the Liverpool shirt. Well done, Fede. A massive 9.5 from me. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the highest score I've given so far this season. I thought that was brilliant from the Italian stallion. And 9 for the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Rio Enamoha. And look, much like I said about Nyoni, no doubting the kid's ability. Tonight was a tougher one for him. He was being doubled up on every time he got the ball. And as I mentioned when I talked about Robbo, we weren't really getting overlapping or underlapping runs to take a defender away, to give him that one-on-one. But I thought he protected the ball well. Always had his head up looking to make things happen. And we know that this kid's going to be a superstar. Is another valuable 75 minutes or so under the belt for him. And again, for me, no question about Rio's ability. Tonight, I'm giving him a score of 6, which I think is a fair one. The Anfield Agenda audience have gone a bit higher with a score there of 6.7. Now we move on to Isak. And like I said, this was a tough one to score, actually, because he only got 45, which is probably a blessing in disguise now that Hugo Ekitike suspended for the Palace game. But the 2 times he had a chance, he comes alive. He forces McCarthy into a save at the start, which was a good save. And then he absolutely took up the right position and buried Federico Chiesa's cross. And it wasn't an easy finish. He had to basically caress it inside the near post, which he did. He's off the mark. He's our boy. He's our £125 million or £130 million signing. And I hope this is the start of a great, great career at Liverpool. So for me, I'm giving him a score of 7 tonight because, as I mentioned, it was only 45, but he got off the mark, which already takes some of the weight off his shoulders. Welcome to Liverpool Football Club, Mr. Isak. We're all looking forward to seeing you in the Liverpool shirt going forward. The audience with a 7.4. Next up, Ugo Ekitike. So straight off the bat, I'm docking him a point. So the score he's getting given is a point less because of the brain fart moment. Obviously, he must have forgotten he got a yellow because he wasn't going to intentionally get himself sent off. Some people believe maybe he was holding the shirt up to show that he was here as no make weight, no backup to Isak. And I'm cool with that if that's the case. I want competition. I want healthy rivalry. But I really liked what I've seen from him on the pitch, most importantly. Yes, he can't do that again. Yes, he's put us in a bit of a tricky position for the weekend. But when he came on, I thought it was a really good performance. You won't get many more simple goals than the one laid on for him, but his work rate, his running at the channel, his tenacity is something that I really appreciate. So again, no qualms about this kid. Really happy we signed him. I'm giving him a 7 tonight, and remember, it would have been an 8 if he hadn't got himself sent off. And again, 6.6 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Connor Bradley did good when he came on. It was good to see Frimpong looking more familiar when he was pushed forward, but Connor Bradley always puts in a solid shift for you. Came up with a couple of good blocks at the end. So yeah, good cameo from him. I'm going to give him a 6.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 6.7. Jayden Danns, I was delighted to see him out there. This kid oozes class for me. And what I love about him is he's not afraid for the physical stuff. He's not afraid to put himself about and get stuck in. He is going to have a great career. If he can put the injuries behind him and keep going, he's just oozes class. He really, really is a good footballer. And I thought he looked sharp tonight when he was on the pitch. So welcome back, Jayden. Great to see you in the first team action again. And tonight I'm giving Jayden a score of 7. And the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit lower with a 6.4. Do let me know in the comments, though, your thoughts about having Jayden back and on his cameo. Next up, Kerkez. I thought he did really well when he came on. Good that we can have Robertson push into the left-sided centre-back role, but the determination of Kerkez, the fight, the ability, I loved it. I love that brief performance today off the bench. So for me, Milos gets a 6.5, and the audience have thought similarly there with a score for Milos Kerkez of 6.4. And last, but by no means least, Arne Slot. Now, what we're going to do moving forward is replace the manager score with an all-around average team score, as was suggested by somebody in the comments, which we've talked about and agreed with. But for tonight, we're going to stick with the manager. And it was a difficult one, because it was the right decision to rest the players he did. Virgil, Wirtz, Salah, Ryan, all these guys need to catch a breather and a breath when they can. So I have no complaints with the manager making a much-changed squad. He found a way. And as we always do, we find that way, and it can't be an accident. Yes, maybe again we left it late to get the winner, but we got the winner. And Arne is perfect, 7 from 7. So for me, don't want to be too harsh or too generous tonight. So I have gone with a 7 for the gaffer, which is exactly the same as the audience with a 7 for them. So that is it for the Anfield Agenda player ratings for today. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to go across and enter our competition to give away that signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt, with thanks to our friends once again at the the Collector's Corner. And yeah, my thanks to you guys for joining us tonight. We'll catch up soon. Much love.